Hey guys, Revival Fitness Mobility and Flow. Today we're going to be working on hip mobility. We're going to do some glutes and shoulder work as well. Then moving on to some standing and some breathing exercises with some leg work before we finish off with a stretch. So a nice session today, just get everything moving. But first of all, we're going to start standing, going into some knee drives. So we're going for a single leg extension. If you haven't started already, then do catch up with the opposite side. We're just going to a lengthening of the hamstring here. So do focus on that core, try not to round off that back too much as you go for that straight leg extension. Then take it into a slight knee bend. Just try and get a bit more hip drive from those hip flexors. Okay, taking it across the body. Do start off relatively small, and then when you can, increase the range in both lifts. Feel the glutes work through, and again, try not to let your body rotate or twist too much. Let's get the glutes to do the work as you just open up and get blood flow into that hip area. Think about your breathing. Just breathe out when it's appropriate, and just allow yourself to increase the mobility of the movement. Okay, now moving on to your hip rotation. If you can either stabilise through that core, maybe a little toe tap just to balance. Do hold on to something if you need to. The main thing is to really get the hips open through. So do support yourself to increase a greater range of movement. Again, whilst you do the exercise, think about your breathing, nice and deep and controlled, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Okay, bringing those knees through to the sides, continuing to open out that groin, a little bit of side flexion just to get the obliques working, as well as those hip flexors. And now taking it across the body to lengthen out that lumbar spine, that lower back, as you lift and rotate through. Now bringing those shoulders into play, continue with the knee drives and just start to work a full range with the shoulders. Take your time, no particular rush. Okay, and then into a shallow squats movement. Just breathing in as you drop down, breathing out as you open out with that standing position. It's good. And then just working through just a little bit of a pulse through into those thighs, get that stretch in the groin, and then drive through. Now taking it into the rotation. I'd like to keep this first movement a little bit slower, a bit more controlled. Loading down into that outside leg. So the weight, the depth comes from loading into that outside leg, and then drive the hips through. Let the hips be the leading movement here. Drive the hips through, transfer that energy from that preloaded leg across the body, and then opening through. As you look around, breathe out, increase the stretch through that chest and that rotation. Okay, nice. Taking it through, just a hinge forwards from it. Just feel a nice lengthening through that hamstring, and then just crawl yourself forwards down onto those hands and knees, finding that neutral position, and then start to rotate through the hips, rotate through the wrists and through those shoulders. I want to feel it's a stretch going into those wrists as you rotate through. Breathing here as you feel is appropriate. Just keep it nice and deep, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now continue with the hips and the shoulders. Now just tracking forwards and backwards, just working in the range of movement that's appropriate, and do increase that range as you can. Those little holds, just find that slight sticking point and then just pulse into it, try and open out a little bit more. Okay, that's great. We're going to move on now to just getting that midsection working. So we're going to pivot into a front kick position. So back leg transfers forwards and then you pivot through. For now, just so, and then extend the arms. So pivot through, stabilize, and then elevate the arms, just opening out your torso. Just try and be as upright as you can. Again, just maintaining those hips, so those knees to the floor. Just create that hip mobility as you extend. To try and breathe out when it's hard and breathe out when you're looking for that full extension. Okay, well done. Moving on to that midsection, just grab those knees and open out the chest nice and tall, and then slowly lower yourself down into that C sit. So here we go, just rolling out the back, tuck the chin and allow the back to lengthen out. You are supporting yourself off your hands, so hold onto those knees and just lower yourself through. Feel the rounding of the spine, a lengthening of the back, but you're supported by those arms. Okay, back to your 90-90s. So just take it nice and steady. Now we're going to bring a little bit of rotation into that lumbar spine. So 90-90, and then sweep around with that trailing arm and lower the chest to the floor with rotation. Feel that lower back lengthen through. Okay, back into that hip drive. Now if you can stay on the same position, you may choose to use your arms. Do help yourself out with the arms if you need to. It could be one or two, or you could just work through, just driving the hips forwards. This is a glute strength exercise, but you're also forcing a bit more of a mobility in your knee. So it's quite an acute angle. Do bring your hands in if it's too tough on that knee. If you can support yourself and you've got the strength in your glutes, then pushing yourself forwards, feel the glutes contract, feel the stretching of that groin. But you're there, your arms are there to help you on the movement. Don't make it uncomfortable. The whole point is to just take yourself through a greater range of movement in as comfortable way as you can. Okay, so again, just a little bit of a stretch in those hips, just opening that area out, pinning those knees to the floor as you drop over that front shin. Okay, back into your 90-90, and then extend both arms to the ceiling and then rotate through. So again, back into that V-sit and stabilize. A little bit more core strength needed now as you just work through these, we're repeating these exercises. Feel that midsection work as you pivot through V-sit and then back to your 90-90. Okay, back into that rollout. So holding onto those knees, haunches of your glutes, and then just allow yourself to roll out with the use of those arms to support the movement. Great stuff. Right, let's just see if you can just roll yourself down all the way down to the floor. So nice and controlled. Hands are there just to counterbalance. We're now going to move into rotation of that lumbar spine. So just toe tapping from side to side. Don't feel you have to reach too high with that foot. Both arms on the floor and allow that lower section to rotate as you open out that lower back. Try and breathe out when you extend that foot. Just feeling the stretch through that lower back. You might get a few clicks and clunks, that's okay. Just mobilising that lumbar spine. Okay, from there we're going to take it into your 90-90. So we're going to work each leg. You're going to go for a very controlled heel tap. Now, extend the leg if you feel that you can control it. Keep the knees bent and just go for that heel drop if you're struggling to maintain your core contraction. So you should feel your tummy stabilizing. You're going to notice your lumbar spine wants to arc. If your back is arcing, then I'm going to ask you to really engage your core to maintain your position. Now you can flatten your back off at this point, or you can maintain the curvature that you've got. Just don't allow your back to arc any further. So stabilize as you extend the leg. You're generally looking to breathe out when it's hard. So breathe out as you extend the leg and then draw that back in. It's all about the tummy stabilizing. The slower, the more controlled, the better. So don't rush through there. From there, we're going to go into your glutes. So now that opposite muscle group. So feet nice and close and then going into a nice straight hip drive. As you drive to the top, just try and squeeze that extra little bit further, get a bit more glute contraction. You're going to feel those hamstrings coming into play as well. Do breathe out as you press to the ceiling, and then breathe in on the way down. So looking for full contraction in the glutes and the lumbar spine, looking for full stretch in the quads and the hip flexors as you drive through. Nice one. Just hug that out for me. So knees in, just round out the back, round out the glutes, and now full extension. Point those toes, point those arms, just create as long a posture as you can, and then back to the starting point. So into that rotation for me. So let the lumbar spine twist, so nice and slow and controlled. Again, breathing out. So just getting mobility into that lower back. Well done. From there, we're going to set ourselves back onto the tabletop position and then into that single leg work. So now I'm going to keep you on the one leg. It's just going to get a bit more intense on that thigh. So again, it's to check that middle section. I want the back to be in neutral. Don't allow the back to arc. Let's ask that core, that pelvic floor and transversus to stabilize the position as you extend that leg through. Once we've done a set on one side, we're going to switch. Okay, so switching through, again nice and controlled. We're staying on the same leg, it's just going to make it a little bit more intense on that single leg. But this is a tummy exercise. Feel the core, the pelvic floor, the transversus engage to stabilize as you extend that leg, that lever. That's great stuff. Into those hip drives. So again, we're going to add to this one. I'm now going to look for an overhead rotation and reach. So as you drive those hips through, now rotate onto the one shoulder and extend over arm. It will increase the stretch through that hip flexor and thigh. So just take your time to allow for that stretch. Do focus though on the glute contraction. Let's get the glutes working full contraction as you push high, and then add that rotation into the movement. Again, breathe out as you extend and breathe in as you reset. Okay, nice one. And then open out that back. So again, just hug those knees, little hug through, and then extend the legs, point the toes, point the arms, just open yourself out nice and long. Okay, well done. And then relax. All right, one more time. So now I'm going to ask you to hold that rotation in the lower back. So just lower that knee to the floor, help yourself out, look in the opposite direction and lever that knee down. Feel the stretch going into the hip and the back. Okay, switching sides, just taking your time. Okay, just opening out that back. So back into that heel drop. So if you want to increase intensity, I'm going to bring the arms in now. So as you extend one leg, you're going to drop both arms behind. This will cause the back to want to arc, but again, I'm asking that core to stabilize. So nice and slow. We're alternating between left and right. What I want you to notice is your body may start to slightly judder. That's fine. Just keep control of that lower back. You're just working at a high level here, so take your time and just don't allow the back to arc as you extend that leg. It's all about the core. Breathing out as you extend and then drawing back in again. Okay, well done. Last one. That's great. Okay, both feet to the floor. Let's take it again into that opposite muscle group. So now, feet nice and close, back into your hip drives. Now I'm going to ask you to stay at top end. So squeeze to the top. Slight drop. As soon as you feel the glutes lengthening out, then continue to pulse through. So I want to keep the intensity on the glutes. It's good. So pulsing through. Again, taking your time. The slower the better. Just work on top end contraction. Feel the glutes contract, feel the hamstrings engage. Thinking about breathing out as you push those hips up nice and high. Feel the stretch going through the quad and the hip flexors into those abs. Okay, nice one. Again, just hug those knees out and then extend, lengthen the legs and lengthen the arms. Just open yourself up nice and tall. Well done. Well done. Okay, so just slowly bring yourself to your seated position. So hands by the side and hinge yourself up. We're going to move into our next block. We're going to look at hip mobility into your quad strength and shoulder rotation. So here we go, hip mobility. Just going to drop back to the depth that's appropriate for you. So that might not be as deep, or you might be able to set a little bit deeper. Now going into that forward stride. So opening up the hips and the groin. Just take your time to reset and then breathe out and step forward, just dropping into that that groin area. From here, we're just going to add a bit of rotation. So plant that foot. There's no right and wrong. Just find a spot to plant that foot and then add that rotation in. The main thing is here, just present the hips forwards. Feel the stretch going through that hip flexor into that groin. Okay, now taking it into your overhead reach. As you reach over, I want you to feel a lengthening of the thighs, but I'd like to hinge back slightly, increase the depth of that hinge and feel your quads take the weight and then the quads to lever yourself back. So the arm is there to support, but I want to really use those quads to lower yourself down and then draw yourself back up. Be careful not to hinge out from the hips. Let's keep the weight on those thighs. All right, moving into that shoulder mobility. So keep facing forwards for me. Allow the hands to drop through and then tap, through and tap. Now I'd like you to look at your hand, start to increase the range of movement through the shoulders, but that thoracic spine. Think about your breathing, nice and slow, nice and steady. Okay, reverse that through for me. So again, facing forwards, just take your time to go for a big circular movement through that chest. Now start to bring that look for me as you reach. So open out and look at that hand. Increase that range of movement through the shoulders. Nice one. Okay. So resetting on those knees again. Down to the depth that's appropriate. And here we go back into that round again. So into that groin drop. So present the hips forwards with a straight step. Breathing out as you push in. Now add that rotation in. So reset into those thighs. And then rotate through. So again, just a reminder, you're just going back down to the depth that's appropriate on those knees. It might not be all the way down to the ankles. You might be able to drop down through. It's your choice. All right, into that hinge. Now I'm going to ask you to reach a little bit further. So open through. Feel the quads again. Take the weight as you hinge and reach. So now instead of touching my ankles, I'm going down to the floor, asking my thighs to take the weight as I load into that stretch. Nice big reach overhead. Just feel those quads taking the weight, allowing for the stretch through the hip flexor, through the obliques as I reach. It's good. Drawing back from those quads, using that arm swing potentially to help myself. Back into those shoulders. So double arm forward swing. Well done. And then taking that into reverse. Again, just take your time. Allow yourself to open out those shoulders. Well done. All right, just a little bit of rotator cuff work. If you can just put your hands as if you're holding a tray and then just draw those shoulders back and down. Feel the scapula set. So working those shoulders as you draw back and down. Palms flat and then palms rotate open. Feel those elbows lead the way as you sit into those lats. All right, here we go. Reset. We're going to go for one more round. So again, into that forward stride, pushing that hip forwards. This time, extend through. I want to get the psoas into that deep inner muscle in that midsection. So reset and again, drop through and reach. Just that little pulse. There's no right and wrong position. Just find a comfortable stance. Feel the stretch going into that hip, into rotation, so hand to the floor. Just get as much rotation as you can. Okay, back into that quad strength. So this time without the rotation, I'd like to hinge back. We're going to do a bit of eccentric load. So hands by the temples, lower through. Make it a bit easier by extending the arms. Reduce the weight and then draw yourself back up with those thighs. So that forward press with the arm will make it a little bit tougher. If you want to keep it tough, keep the hands on the temples or by your side, keeping that weight through. If you want to help out, then just extend those arms and then help with that movement. So just a little bit of quad strength there as you hinge back and then draw through. Well done. Back into those shoulders. So rotation, this time single shoulders side to side. All right, then taking it in the opposite direction. And then double those shoulder rolls. Okay, rotation through the shoulders. So I'd like to rotate one palm, feel that rotation going through the arm and into the shoulder girdle. Do allow yourself to rotate from side to side. So we're just setting those shoulders as you rotate and roll. Again, there's no right and wrong. Just feel that movement work through the arm as you rotate and reach. Okay, well done guys, we're going to take it into some leg movements now, some leg strength with breathing. So if you can, we're going to get straight into it. Standing position into your squats. Just work the depth that's appropriate and increase that range as you go. Breathing in on the way down, exhale as you reach overhead. I'm looking for mobility in the squats and mobility in those shoulders as you reach overhead. We're going to get a bit of strength work into that thigh now. So load through and drive that knee. Allow for the stretch to come into that glute as you drive that knee through. Again, breathe out as you drive the knee up. So breathing in and breathe out. All right, into your rotation. So now rotate through, breathe out as you extend away. Breathe in as you draw back in. Well done. I'm going to take it into a bit of leg strength shortly. So just working through left and right. Feel that front leg take the weight. Feel the stretch in that hip flexor. Now keep fixed on that single leg and power that knee forwards. My weight is purely over that front leg. I'm going to transfer through and then drive on the other side. It does become quite intense on that thigh, and I want you to help yourself out with that arm as you drive through. It's great, nice one. Okay, back to the center. All right, here we go. Now into your balance work. So I'm going to ask you to stride to the side, drag your foot across, stabilize, and then knee through. Holding that core nice and strong to stabilize that balanced position. I really want you to focus on your core to stabilize. Squeeze your outside glute as you stand. Keep the hips level, core engaged, to create that stability. Okay, here we go. Round number 2. So back into those squats. You know the exercise we're going to be working through. Now if you can increase that depth range and do so. So breathing in on the way down and exhale on the way up. Nice and steady for that movement. Okay, into that knee drive. Here we go. Down and drive through. Get the stretch in the groin and squeeze the glutes. Just that little bit of balance at that top end. So you squeeze the glutes. You've got to absorb, stretch, and breathe out, drive. Okay, well done. Into your rotation. Again, breathe out as you drop through. Feel the stretch in that hip flexor. Weight, even spread, vertical drop. Presenting the hips forwards. Okay. Transfer forwards, here we go, drive off that leg. We're going for about 6, there's 3. It's great stuff. Okay, rotate across and again, load that front thigh. Transfer that body weight forwards, powering through. Arms are there to help. 3 more for me, so drive that knee through, keeping that weight fixed over that quad. Great stuff, and then recover. Into your balance work. So again, engage the core. Take your time to recover as you stride to the side, sweep across, and then hold. The outside glute takes the weight or flexes up to keep the hips nice and level. Again, breathing is key. Don't think about balancing. Think about stabilizing from the core. Thinking about you breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. And just think about grabbing the floor with those feet to create stability in the movement. You're doing really well. It's good, nice and controlled. We've got one more round. Okay, so here we go. Split that stance from nice and wide. You know the exercise. Let's just go as deep as we can and full range of movement with those shoulders as you can. Okay, get ready for that knee drive. So nice and steady, and then here we go, powering that knee through. Yep, deep and drive through. Get the stretch, little hold in that groin and push through. You've got it. Nice and steady, and yep, try and keep the chest as upright as you can. Let the glutes lead the way. That's good. Okay, here we go, into that rotation. So again, working from side to side, just focus on the breathing pattern, focus on the hip flexor stretch. Okay, and on this one, rotate. Now transfer that body weight forwards, and here we go, driving through. All my weight on that front leg, back leg just stabilizes, powering with those shoulders as I work through, strong in that core. Once I've got my 6, rotate. Here we go, transfer forwards and drive. Power that knee forwards, keep the weight all on that front leg, back leg there is just there to balance. Okay, nice, well done. Into that balance work, so here we go, side stride, and pick that knee up, do your checks, core engaged, arms out to the side now. I'm going to hold you there for a fair bit, focus on your breathing, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Do try and get that knee as high as you can to balance that position, and just focus on your breathing pattern, focus on your core. Well done. Okay, switching across, here we go. Stabilize, arms out to the side, just hold that position again. It's the breathing pattern, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Knee nice and high, just feel the glutes flexed up, feel the core engaged. Grab the floor with your feet, just create that stability. Well done. Okay, well done guys. You've done ever so well. Just going to do a little bit of full body movement before we take it down onto the floor and stretch. I'd like you to work on this movement now as you load down into the thigh. Like at the start of the session, feel the weight go into that quad and then drive through. Now I would like to keep you facing on forward on this one and focus on that drive through the hip. So push that hip through and allow that back arm to open through. We put a bit of energy into that one. So again, just start with that movement, this nice and steady. Feel the body transfer from your thigh and rotate through. That's good. So I'm going to ask you to add a little bit more drive now with that hip. So power that hip forwards and extend that arm. Feel the stretch through the chest as you face forwards and power through. So quite intentional on that movement. Okay, well done. All right, taking yourself into your stretches. If you can just slowly bring yourself down. So comfortable stance, hinge forwards from the hips. Feel the hamstrings lengthen through as you present your hands to the floor, and then slowly walk forwards. And we're going to take it into that glute stretch. So just allow that body weight to rest on that knee or that glutes, leaning forwards. When you can, extend the opposite arm forwards and do so. Feel the stretching of that hip and the glutes. So reset in that press up position and then switching sides. Okay, again, reset. So taking it onto those hands and knees, just going to drop back into your thighs again and those hips. So just lengthening out that lower back as you extend those arms. Now hyperextension, so opposite movement. Present the hips to the floor. Just work within the range that's appropriate for you. So mild discomfort in the lengthening of that muscle group. All right, into your lower back again, but also into that upper back, that shoulder. So just drop the arm forward and just slow pulse from forwards and backwards. Feel that body weight shift as it stretches out that lumbar spine and the shoulder. Well done. Okay, so back to neutral. Okay, taking yourself forward into that seated position. into your quad stretch. So bring that foot back as far as you feel is appropriate. You might be able to get the ankle into the glute. You might be able to, it might be a different angle. If you can, then rotate and push onto, lift the hips off the floor, push onto that thigh stretch. Just hold that position, lengthen out on the quad and hip flexor. Okay, reset that and switch sides. So again, just find the angle that's appropriate. Just leaning away, and if you can, hinge onto that thigh and do so. Into rotation, so nice straight legs, so rotate and look in the opposite direction. Now that back arm, I'd like you to bring yourself forwards and then grab the opposite foot with the back, with the opposite arm. It might be the knee, shin or ankle or toe, so just working that opposite. Okay, then switch sides, so again look in the opposite direction. Again, then that back arm, I'd like to bring that forwards and then reach for the opposite side. Just find that mild discomfort in the back of the leg and in that lower back. Into your chest now, so hands pointing away from you. Just slowly slide the glutes away, opening out the chest, opening out the shoulders, feel that stretch. So just lengthen yourself out as much as you feel is comfortable. And again, just settle into that position. Nice one. From there, let's hinge ourselves back up onto your standing position. So track through into your downward dog position. So here we go, tuck those toes under, push yourself through into your downward dog. So get that drive through the hamstring, through those calves, and then just slowly walk those hands towards you. The wider the stance, the easier. So just find a level that's appropriate. Okay, just get a comfortable stance. I'm going to ask you now to drop down into those thighs. Present the knees to the elbows. Just allow that body weight to shift onto those elbows as you open out that groin. Just allow the heels to lift. Feel that stretch as you rest on those elbows. And then transfer back as far as you feel that you're comfortable. And just try and sit into a deep squat position. Feet out to the side just to help open out the hips to make it a bit easier. Just sit there and play around, just maybe rock from side to side or bounce, just opening out those hips, opening out those knees. Standing tall, give yourself a shake off. You've done ever so well. Well done, guys. Nice one. Have a great day and I look forward to seeing you soon.